Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a good weekend. I want to share a little bit more about Michael Shannon's return to Zod in The Flash. He has been doing press, of course, recently, and has been sharing a lot about making his return to the role in the Flash movie. And he's also been talking a lot about Man of Steel and Zack Snyder and showing a lot of support for that. And so I want to share a couple of things that he had to say. In an interview with Collider, he was asked, people have been waiting for quite some time now for The Flash to finally hit theaters. What are you most excited for people to see with that? What should audiences be prepared for? He answered, honestly, to me, it's all about Ezra Miller. I just think Ezra is a fascinating performer and actor. I can't wait to see this performance. It's a huge challenge. I don't want to give anything away, but what Ezra had to do in this movie is pretty crazy, and I think they're up to the task. I know a lot of times with movies like this, people are excited about the big set pieces or the effects, but for me, it's always about performance. I don't care whether it's an Ingmar Bergman film or the Avengers. It's always about performance. Here's where it got a little bit more interesting. Did it feel different at all returning to the character? But he isn't quite the same character since he's from a different timeline. He replied, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't quite satisfying for me as an actor. These multiverse movies are like somebody playing with action figures. It's like, here's this person, here's that person, and they're fighting. It's not quite the in-depth character study situation that I honestly felt Man of Steel was. Whether people think that's crazy or not, I don't even care. I really felt like Man of Steel was actually a pretty sophisticated story. I feel like The Flash is too, but it's not Zod's story. I'm basically there to present a challenge. So, again, a lot of interviews that he's been, doing to promote the movie and talk about coming back as Zod, he's talked a lot about Man of Steel, which, obviously that's kind of impossible. Like of course he's going to talk about Man of Steel because that's when he played Zod, for the first time. So that's going to come up. But of course, he talked about before how he spoke to Zack about it to see if Zack felt okay about him coming back in the role. Otherwise, he was not going to do it. There's a video of him talking about it where he told them, I'm going to have to talk to Zack about this first. Not because Zack would have required him to do that, but because he felt like that was the right thing to do. And he said, I was not okay. I was upset about what happened with Zack and how he was treated and whatnot. He didn't quite feel right coming back since Zack cast him in that role. And he just wanted to make sure Zack was okay with it. And, of course, Zack was fine with it. And he said, I'm not going to you guys are just going to have to wait until I talk to him. If I get his blessing, if he's okay with it, then yeah. But if not, I'm not going to do it. So I really respect that a lot. I feel like he has so much respect for Zack. And I think that was a really, stand-up thing to do, regardless of whether or not he personally wanted to do it. I respect that he felt like, that was the right thing to do. And not only that, I respect him for sharing it publicly because he could have just kind of kept that to himself. Clearly, a lot of the people that Zack has worked with feel very loyal to him, not in a weird way, just they care about him as a person because he cares about them and they know that he's a good guy and everyone has great things to say about him, about working with him. And so, it felt like the right thing to do, and I really respect that. So a couple of times he's brought up playing Zod in The Flash compared to playing Zod in Man of Steel, and I think this statement was a little bit more candid, but not necessarily in a bad way. I don't think he's hating on the movie or hating on The Flash or saying anything negative about it. He's said plenty of times this is definitely a Flash story, and watching Zod in this film is going to be different because you're not getting a deep dive into his character as you were in Man of Steel, which makes sense. Clearly, he's still taking this opportunity to compliment Man of Steel and kind of feels like he's trying to say, I don't understand, why people have had such a problem with that movie. And I appreciate him taking this opportunity to show his appreciation and admiration for what they did with Man of Steel. And, like I said, I don't think he's trying to hate on The Flash. Obviously, he's in it. He's not going to try to say anything bad about it. But he's being honest about the experience he had playing Zod in Man of Steel and playing Zod in The Flash, which, kind of makes sense. He's going to be a little bit more vague in this movie because this movie, it's not really necessary to go and do a deep dive into his character, because that's not what's, for this story. But it is going to be interesting to see him and Feora come back and see maybe how it's a little different in this movie. So I wanted to share that because, like I said, he has been bringing up Zack and Man of Steel lately, and just kind of making sure people understand how he feels about it, I think. And he's using this time to be honest about it and still be respectful to everyone involved. So interesting comments. Movie comes out next week. It's coming out, very soon, June 16th. I'll be seeing it Thursday night, and I think it's going to be a lot to talk about for sure. There's already been a lot to talk about. It'd be interesting also to see how everyone reacts and responds, and so I'm sure there would be plenty to discuss. But also on my last video, I kind of made a little mistake. I was thinking that Tudum was this weekend. It's not. Obviously, that would have been today. It's next weekend. So there'll be much to talk about from that as well, with Rebel Moon and everything. So thank you guys. Check out anything you might have missed recently, and we'll see you soon.